my friends. Hope you are all okay. So this will be the last video of the series that I have started months ago. And the name of the series is that you know already, Srikrishna, your friend, your guide forever. But this time, I have changed the name, shortened it a little bit. Now on, this name would be, Srikrishna, your friend forever. Srikrishna, sadaiba apke Sathi. This would be the last part of the series, part 3, Srikrishna, your friend forever. I'm your host, Dr. Subrata, a scholar, a lover of Indian spirituality. Now, if I start this video with a question given to you, well, do you think that you always find it equally when you do good works, you got, or when you do good work, you receive good result. When people do bad works, or corrupt works, or wrong works, they receive bad results. Do you think so? Do you think this happens always? Certainly not. This is not the case. We occasionally find that good works suffered very much and do not get good results all the time. And bad works, corrupt practices, give huge benefits in property, in comforts and all that. Here comes Srikrishna. He said, well, that's why I said you have the authority, you have the right to do works, but don't desire your expected result all the time. And that's why keep detachment, anashakti, perform your works in anashakti, and that will make you free from the beginning, and ultimately that will give you peace. We have talked about all these things earlier. But one thing is sure, that there is no problem in doing karma and expecting result. The normal practice it. There's no problem in doing works and expecting a result. That's obvious. People do this way. People act this way. But the problem comes when you attach your sentiment, your emotions with the expected result. And here comes the problem. And sometimes people bet their life too. For example, they proceed in this way: if I do not get this result, then I am going to end my life. Or if I don't get this result from my partner or so on, I'm going to kill the man, or I'm going to end his life or destroy him, and so on and so forth. Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, don't be emotionally attached. Don't be sentimentally attached. Shudrang hridaya durballang tyakto tishtha parantapa. Don't be emotionally, sentimentally attached. Don't keep your self-interest all the time when you do work. Do work as your duty. And each and every work will give rise to a certain problem. But don't expect according to your wishes, because you know the socio-economic and social situations in many times responsible to give you result. You know the present situation. A corrupt, practiced man receives more comforts, property and all that in their lives. So, don't expect. And it is our disease that we always expect the whole world will act according to our wishes, which never happens. And at the same time, Sri Krishna said, Look, the doctrine of karma, the doctrine of action, karmavada, is a very, very difficult doctrine. I mean, there is much complexity, complicatedness in the whole doctrine. He said, Gahano karmano gati. It is hard to understand the way of karma, Bhagavan said. When he represented himself before Arjuna, he sometimes said, look, I never attach to any karma. I do many karmas. You have to. You cannot avoid, escape from karma. You have to do. But I never attach to any karma. He said, Namang karmani limpanti, name karma phalis priya. I'm never defiled by any karma, nor I have got any yearning from it for a result. I do karma as a Shamadarshi, as a Sthita Pragya. As a Shamadarshi or Sthita Pragya does, I do karma. You have to do. And at the same time, when Arjuna raised, look, I'm not going to do war. One time he said, and Bhagavan Krishna said, look, you have to do karma. You have to do war. You have to fight the battle. Because at the first instance, you are saying that you are not going to do, but your prakriti, your nature, your combination of Shakti, Rajas, Tamas in your origination, prakriti stvanga niyukshati. This prakriti, the very nature of yours, will make you do war. It will make you fight in a battle. You have to. So don't say, I'm not going to do it. Now the question is, what is the basis of Anashakti? How it leads, how far it leads. I remember a very famous line of one of the saintly spiritual leader, saintly man of India. Once he said, first step is the last step. If your first step of life is a right one, and if you continue this kind of work, then your last step would also be good, would also be fine. And this Anashakti, this Nishkama Karma, is such a work that if we can do it perfectly well, then it will liberate us in the ultimate level, that liberation of a different kind. A material liberation at the very beginning can lead us, each and everyone who is performing this Nishkama Karma, to the spiritual liberation, Brahma Nirvana. So how it works, that's very important. When you do a work in Anashakti without attaching sentiment, emotions with that work, we immediately get released from the burden of the result, from the bondage of the result, I must say. Because each and every work has got a result, and that result binds. But when a man does the work in a Nishkam way, with Anashakti, the result of that work never binds you. So you receive the freedom from the very beginning. And never binds you, it means it never gives you pain. In any situation of your life. And you are liberated from that very beginning, from that very moment. If I can do any work in an Anashakti, in a detached manner, without attaching any sentiment and emotions and all that, that I am immediately, at that very moment, is liberated from the possible pain it can give if the result doesn't come according to my wishes. That's the point. And the second thing, after doing it, the first step is working out of detachment, Anashakti, without attaching what sentiment, emotions, self-interest. Secondly, as we grow, it liberates us, each one of us, from the duality of the mind. Because whenever we stay in the mind, in a mental level, and work from that level, we are always becomes victim of duality, good and bad, high and low, great and small, beautiful and ugly, and all that. But as we grow, as we advance in the way of anashakti, at the second step we will receive freedom from the duality of the mind. That means we are advancing or going above the level of the mind. It seems queer at this moment, but the actual motto of Bhagavan Krishna is to take you towards the level of Atma, as I said in the earlier video, perhaps in the part 2, yes. Bhagavan Krishna is taking you to the level of Atma, the level of non-duality, the level of Atmopalabdhi. If we proceed further in the way of non-attachment, if we proceed further in the way of anashakti, then we will reach, surely, may not be today, but surely we will reach a status of Atmopalabdhi. That's very keen, very core, very near to the self-realization and finally to the Brahma Nirvana. This is, in nutshell, this is the basis, and this is the basic point of Bhagavan Sri Krishna's teachings, all through the Bhagavad Gita. This is the basic point to lead you from the level of normal individual work to the level of Atmopalabdhi. And there is a question. Once Bhagavan Krishna said, don't think it's a very trifle matter to work in this way. He said, Shvalpam yapi ashva dharmasya trayate mahato vayat. If you do it a little, if you progress, if you advance it little by little, it will ultimately give you a huge kind of a big kind of freedom. He said, even a little of this righteousness, even a little of this practice of the dharma saves you from great fear. To understand Bhagavan Krishna, because this question is very important, understanding Bhagavan Krishna as far as possible, because sometimes it happens that we understand Krishna in a very partial manner. We are not taking consideration of his different facets of life. Bhagavan Krishna is not on the bashari, a flute. Bhagavan Krishna is not a leela with gopinis and radhas only. Bhagavan Krishna is much more. He is a Sudarshanadhari, Sudarshan Chakra, the divine will of destruction, the divine mace of destruction. He is the statesman. The world ever seen this kind of statesman? A great warrior. He is a statesman, he is a great warrior, a great lover, of course, and a person with kindness, huge kindness. So Sri Krishna is not a bashari, or just Krishna is not a devotion alone. And if we do not consider Sri Krishna in his different facets, then we will misunderstand his teachings. That's my point. For me, in my understanding, Sri Krishna is a revolution. He did revolution in our approach towards karma, action, bhakti, devotion, prem, and particularly to yoga. He revolutionized all these concepts. There is also prema, love. He revolutionized, I must say. And there could be so many things to be said, can be said about these different aspects: karma, bhakti, yoga, prema, or devotion. And finally yoga. It revolutionized all these chapters of human life. And if anybody wants to understand Krishna from the mundane, from the material level alone, if one understands his teaching from the material level alone, from this material mundane life, physical life, it's not possible. We only see the 50% or less than of the life. Another 50% or more than that is remaining dark. We are not concerned. The mundane, the material world don't concerned about that. But Sri Krishna's teachings towards Arjuna consider the whole life. Life having a huge canvas. That's very important. And there was a time when Arjuna asked, look, this nishkama karma, this work from detachment, anasakti, seems to be so futile, so trifle. Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, and this is very important to understand the value of detachment. He said, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj, jnanat dhyanam vishishvate, dhyanat karma phala tyaga, tyagat shanti anantaram. In between two, knowledge and practice, knowledge is higher. In between knowledge and meditation, meditation is higher. In between meditation and karma phala tyaga, detachment, anasakti, nishkama karma, in between these two, this tyaga is higher. Because when this tyaga, this sacrifice, this renunciation of the sentiment, emotions, desires for the result goes, then peace comes immediately. As he said, I repeat, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj, jnanad dhyanam vishishvate, dhyanat karma phala tyaga, tyagat shanti anantaram. I must say one thing at this level. Krishna gave enormous value to righteousness. Enormous value to righteousness. He even announced such a revolutionary statement to motivate Arjuna. Remember, to motivate Arjuna. He said, look, if you work out of a good intention for righteousness, and even in this process, you kill, say, the whole humanity, or the millions, then you won't be called a killer. And vice will not touch you. Or you won't be touched by any vice whatsoever. You won't be called a killer, and you won't be touched by any vice if your work done out of selflessness, for a good intention, righteousness, for dharma. Then you are freed from all these things. It means if your intention is good, then you won't be touched by any vice or whatsoever. The famous statement is that Jashva naham krito bhava buddhi vijasya nilipyati hatyapishe iman lokam nahanti na nivadhyate. That's a very big statement. But my point is that to motivate Arjuna, Bhagavan Krishna said that. And it's our duty to understand Bhagavan Krishna's teachings too. That if your intention is good, for example, if you want to protect your motherland, your country, you can, obviously you can kill enemies. But Bhagavan Sri Krishna is not all the time for bhakti and devotions and all that. Sometimes we read Bhagavan Krishna's teachings in a wrong way. If we take all his aspects as far as possible, if we consider all his aspects of life as it reflected in the Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures, people will realize that he is not always for Bashari, not always for Bhakti, not always for Prema. He is more than that. To understand his teachings, his totality, his different facets needs to be understood. When all this is said, and Arjuna was motivated to the full, then Arjuna said, Nasto moha smriti labdha tat prasadat mayachyuta sthito vashmi gata sandeha karishye vachanang tava. All my delusions have gone. My memory returned because of you, your grace, my Lord. He Achyuta. Now I am settled, and all doubts dispelled, and I am ready to serve you. Karishye vachanang tava. When you understand in the right perspectives of Krishna's teachings, this becomes enlightenment. This understanding becomes obvious, and Arjuna is ready to fight. Now the question is, are we ready to take our life in this way? Face to face, without trying for it in any way. Can we take the life face to face in a detached manner? If we can, we have achieved something great, and of course my effort will be a great success. Hope you have found a little bit at least helpful. If you find this helpful, please give your comment and subscribe. That's my request. Thank you very much for listening me. We will surely meet again within a short time. Thank you again. Hare Krishna.